Buonasera.
We made it!
We made it finally.
Yes! Well, thank you so much for being here, Tiziano. I think this will be such a, a very good session. So thank you
Fantastic.
for agreeing to do that.
Yeah, my pleasure, guys. Really, my pleasure.
So, Tiziano, I think we can start. In the meantime, people will continue to join. So would you like to start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, born and raised in Rome. So you can imagine I'm on the other side of the Roman Empire. So, given the fact that you're from Istanbul. So, born and raised in Rome. I studied in Rome. I spent then a semester abroad in Sweden, where I decided to pursue my international career. During my master's studies, I hold a BSc in economics and financial markets and Master of Science in Quantitative Finance. Then I started to work in SACE. And a funny story is that I applied to SACE during, I think it was May 2014, with a spontaneous candidature, and no one has ever reverted to that. I went to the career day. It's a super funny story. I went to the career day as organized by my university. I went there, and there was their recruiter from Sasha and said, can I see your CV? Sure. I handed over to her my CV and say, really nice. You have a very international experience over here compared to your peers. I said, okay, fine. I gave her my CV, and after a week I was already doing my interviews with Sasha. After a year, and guys, pursue the sliding doors because it's extremely important. After a year, I moved to Frankfurt and I started working in Structure Expo Finance, where I'm still there. And soon there will be lots of news over there. So that's unfortunately I cannot share yet. Let's put it in this way. So it has been a fantastic journey, and I've been developing the SACE portfolio together with my line manager, Daniela Motadi. And I mean, everyone is asking me, would you like to do that again? And then I say, yeah, sure, why not? I would do that again and again and again. So it's a very fantastic experience because, of course, you're stepping out from your comfort zone. You're moving from Rome to Frankfurt, and trust me, that Frankfurt is not the most exciting place in Europe. So yeah, so you can imagine. I mean, but I
Especially
strongly,
after Rome, I guess.
especially after Rome, yeah, I strongly recommend to everyone to go there and to have an international experience. Yeah, because it's completely the best choice that could be of your life. So please do that. I strongly encourage you guys to do that. I do see that there are
It's
not so many people so far, just four.
it's okay.
Are you sure?
People click and go, click and go. That's
Perfectly
perfectly fine.
fine.
That's
Okay,
okay. We're
lovely.
going to save this session anyways on
Yeah,
the page, and then we will upload it to YouTube as well. So it's perfectly fine.
lovely.
Um, Tiziana, by the way, I think that's what you said about international experience is very important because so far, I think that there's only one common, suggestion given by the guests here so far. It's international experience, and regardless of where you come from, I guess, because as you know, this platform is mainly hosts Turkish people,
Hmm.
Turkish professionals. And it's apparently not just about coming from Turkey, but for an Italian student as well, I guess, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's something that I strongly recommend to everyone because world is so big, and you should not be such a short-sighted person to look at your own turf, at your own little garden. I mean, you guys, of course, you're coming from Istanbul, and in Istanbul there are different cultures that are all melted together. Um, the country is a fast-growing country. It's, I think, one of the youngest population in the area. So of course, it's a completely different scenario compared to Italy, but I strongly recommend to everyone, because once you are going abroad, you're going to get to know different people, different nationalities, different cultures, and this will definitely help your career. You will get a better banker, better manager, better employer, better entrepreneur, because once you acquire a different view from the one that you've grown up with, it's gonna be definitely something better, because you don't know only I'll make you an example, the Turkish perspective, but you will know the international perspective, because especially when you're getting to know different cultures, like for my side, for example, I'm working in a team with 14 different nationalities. You will get different way of pursuing different tasks, taking a decision in a different timely manner, having different reaction to different, let's say, situations. So I think it's a very, very, very important for you to create a growth and international mindset.
And Tiziano, of course, this platform is, the main audience is the students, but at the same time, in your opinion, looking at your own, past background and experience, who should listen to you today?
Well, good question. It's a kind of a tricky one, because always encourage the juniors that I work with, or my friends, my youngest friends actually, because I'm almost 35, so I have to look at the ones that are early 20s, to listen to people that let's say provides you feedback or an advice without any interest, but completely outside of your area of friends or area of the family, and so on. So take inspiration from people that you don't know, because it's the people that you don't know that at the end of the day, they have no interest into you. So if you have a manager that is asking you, in my opinion, or is recommending you to do this or do that, take it as a piece of advice, but compare it with your idea, compare it with your dreams, compare it with your ambitions. So that's my 2 cents of advice, because never take anything for granted, never taking anything like a dogma, like a Bible, or things like that.
Okay, let's start with your story in that case. So let's go back to, at the beginning of your career back in Rome. How was studying in Rome? Because, during the past years, a lot of Turkish students are, choosing Italy to do their bachelor's, to do their master's degree. How was studying there? And would you suggest it to Turkish students?
Look, I strongly believe that a city like Rome, it's a beautiful place where to live. But as a student, I would suggest to go somewhere that is more walking distance or human being dimension city. Rome is a huge city. It's like Istanbul. So if you're going to live in Rome, make sure that you're going to live close by to the university. Make sure that you're going to enjoy life outside the university, and trying to get to know people that are outside the university. But I would say that is also difficult over there. But if you have any chance to go abroad to study in Rome, Florence, Milan, Venice, please do that. Takes this
I think that's an important piece of advice.
I've been I moved to Sweden, in Göteborg, or Göteborg in Swedish, and I think Göteborg is big as much as a borough in Rome. So can you imagine that I was running from my student housing up to the seaside and back, it was 10 kilometers. Back in time, I was in a better shape, so I could do that. 10K was nothing, but nowadays it's a bit more difficult. But you have to take into account also these kind of situations. I mean, the commuting time, all the public transportation. I mean, Rome, it's not the easiest city, but of course, it's like walking an open air museum. I mean, I was last week in Rome, and I was meeting SACE, the Italian ECA, and I was walking from my girlfriend flat to SACE, and it was amazing because she's living close by to St. Peter. And I mean, instead of taking the cab that would take, I don't know, 25 minutes, I decided to have a walk for 40 minutes.
And to enjoy.
It was amazing. Amazing. So, I mean, as I said, I'm a great Rome fan, but I think that there are also other cities for students that are better size for students, let's say. So I heard that Venice is amazing for students. So to keep in mind that.
Lovely. I think, we can also start talking about the main topic of today. So structured finance. You mentioned such a couple of times. Like, what does it do? Like, are there, similar institutions around the world? What do they do? What's the goal? I'm sure many of the students have never heard about them.
Let me start first with a broader view. Structured export finance is a section of structured finance products and is mainly dealing with ECAs. ECAs are governmental entities that are called export credit agencies that are issuing a guarantee in this case, in some cases, or an insurance policy towards banks in relation to the financing of goods and services that are from one country to another. So the country of export of the exporter will issue this insurance policy towards the financing. So I'll make an example. Let's take SACE. SACE is the Italian state export credit agency, and an important company of like Saipem in Italy is developing a new hydrogen plant in Turkey. SACE will cover the financing of this hydrogen plant in Turkey because there is an export from Italy into Turkey. So that's in a nutshell what is export finance. Of course, it's a very niche market. Not so many people know about it, but it's amazing because it's international finance. So you can get to know different people, different cultures, and so on. I mean, maybe because I look like Turkish, but I've been dealing with Turkish companies since 2015. So that's next year would be 10 years dealing with the Turkish companies.
By the way, we have a saying in Turkish, grapes get darker by looking at each other. So like when you spend a lot of time with, some people, you just become alike. So
yeah,
that might be the case for you.
I mean, I made a rough calculation last summer that I was in Turkey. I said, geez, in 1 year I've been 3 times in Turkey. In 12 months, 3 times. It's a kind of mind-blowing, but it's amazing. And I'm now also coming again in April. So I'm planning to come there.
Perfect. So, and let's talk about specifically your role and how did you end up there? How do you intermediate, these kinds of transactions? Just to give a little bit of an idea to the audience.
Okay, so structured export finance bankers are front office function at ING. In other banks are assisting the front office, but at ING are pure front office function. So we are originating transaction from the importer side or from the exporter side. Once we hear about the preliminary stage of the project from either from the importer or from the exporter. We are assessing the project. We are evaluating the economics and the credit risk associated to the transaction, and afterwards we start all the documentation process. The documentation process consists in the negotiation of the loan agreement. So finance documents that will set out the rules in relation to the financing. So after the negotiation, we will reach signing of the finance documents, then financial close, and then the funds will be disbursed. But you think that the job is finished there? No, there is all the monitoring phase, which will be monitoring, and this will be most of the time from another function that is called portfolio management. There is the monitoring of the file until the last dime has been paid back to the bank.
Just another quick question. Like very quickly, what do you think that, not specifically, ING, but maybe just in general banks or even SACE would look for in students for such a position? Like, what are the main muscles that you use while doing your job?
You need to have strong communication skills. You need to be very, very open-minded. You need to have a strong English in written and speaking, let's say, skill set. And especially for juniors, very good understanding of financial analysis and credit risk. So.
And in that sense, is there anything that you suggest to, your junior colleagues, like, I don't know, some kind of a website or reading some documentation? Like, how can they, for example, imagine they're coming for an interview for such a position, and what would you suggest them to do beforehand?
First of all, they need to know what is ECA financing. They need to know how to evaluate a company. So they need to have a strong financial analysis skills. They need to have knowledge of, for example, specific. I'll make an example. If I'm searching for a junior that will cover the SACE market, he needs to speak Italian, needs to understand a bit of. Needs to understand the Italian economy dynamics and the major exporters or the major importing countries for the Italian business. So these are the
main things that you would look
main
for.
Topics. Yeah.
At least research before coming about these topics, probably.
Guys, never go to an interview without being prepared. Because this business is based on reputation, so
it's such an interesting thing because sometimes students send out questions through this platform, and if it's about banking, I try to connect with our colleagues. If it's not about banking and something else, I try to find somebody else, and they're like, so like what should I do during the interview? Like, what are the things that I should be careful about? I think most important thing about interviews is the research you do beforehand. Like, because when you come into an interview being prepared, your attitude, the way you sit, it all just comes out naturally. I seriously don't like giving out advices like wear a blue shirt or like, try to have a posture. Like, no, like I think 80% of it is beforehand. What do you think?
Yeah, I think 50% is being prepared, 20% is no overthinking but thinking, and 30% is to show yourself, because it's extremely important to show yourself, because it doesn't mean that if you can't pass an interview with Goldman Sachs, you are not ready for BNP Paribas or JP Morgan. So I think passing an interview. It's being in the right moment with the best preparation. So
I totally agree with you.
That's what I believe.
So I know you said a couple of words about the international experience aspect, but I want to talk about a little bit more young professionals, or even mid-senior levels, senior levels, like because you can move out to work abroad anytime in your career. And when you did that for Frankfurt, what would be your suggestions to adapt to the city, or just to feel a little bit more comfortable doing that? What would you suggest from your experience?
My experience is that guys dream about it, think about so that you're going to discover a new place. Don't be scared. I mean, you will make friends, you will get to know new people, you will have a different experience that will change yourself. So do that. Nothing else. Do that.
And
don't be scared.
How long it's been for you in Frankfurt, by the way?
In September, 9 years.
9 years. And when do you think that you started fully comfortable? Like at the end of a year or the second year, or maybe not even now? I don't know.
I mean, I can tell you a funny story. When I arrived in Frankfurt, I was overexcited by being in Frankfurt because, when you want to do banking and they tell you how we're moving you from Rome to Frankfurt, I mean, you don't care about where you're going. It's another city. They're offering you the job that you were dreaming of. So at the beginning, of course, was difficult because here on Sunday everything is closed. So supermarkets are closed, shops are closed, just bars and restaurants. Then you have to adapt yourself. And also in this case, you're growing up. It's also in this kind of matters that you are developing yourself. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I realized that instead of doing things spontaneously like we do in Rome, you start organizing your life. Then, of course, if you become German, you get a schedule that if you want to do something with some of your friends, you have to schedule 3 weeks in advance. But I'm still Italian in that regard, so just 1 week in advance.
Well, at least, apart from the country you're at, most of your colleagues are from, all around the world. So I hope that makes a little bit easier, for you and everybody, I guess.
Yeah, sure. But it's important also that you create your inner circle outside of the bank. That's what I strongly recommend to everyone. Because, I mean, it's nice to go out with your colleagues, but sometimes it's important also to cut off completely and stop thinking about work, stop thinking about business, and get to know people that are youngsters that you share, I don't know, the football club passion, gym passion, or movie theater passion, whatever. But the important thing is to focus on people that you can create very good relationships.
That's so true. And usually those when you set those kinds of relationships as part of your life, it just sticks on forever somehow.
Definitely.
Shall we go back to specifically Turkish students? From an international perspective, what are your thoughts and suggestions would be for Turkish students looking for a job in banking in general, not just structured finance, but a career in banking?
Career in banking nowadays is, let's say, banking is not sexy as before.
Yeah.
Let's put it in this way, because nowadays fintechs are sexier, social media, big tech companies, industrial companies are fast-moving goods companies. I heard that Procter
more popular,
Gamble, make an example, Procter & Gamble in Turkey is an amazing place where to work. Same for Unilever or Microsoft. these
Yeah.
kind of companies. But if you really like banking, think about that banking is the kind of industry that is there since beginning of
Centuries, centuries,
of,
centuries.
of the centuries. So I think already Romans were start doing banking. So will change, but will hardly disrupt. Let's put it in this way. So, but it doesn't mean to be the safe place where to work. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to work in banking, you need to be kind of dynamic person because you need to change and adapt to the situation. You need to be ready to take different positions, different roles, and different tasks. And please, guys, don't think that if they're asking you to go extra mile is something like slavery. It's just because it's doing extra mile. Everybody has done it, and this is
Yeah.
part of your learning process.
Curve. Yeah. It's so true. I think perhaps it's about some kind of a generational difference, but um, the new generation is kind of scared about, hearing even that word of extra mile. Um, do you think there's a generational difference, like, or they're just being scared? I don't know. What do you
I
think?
think I think it's a two-side matter. First of all, it's a generational point of view, of course, because nowadays the generation X, right, is
Yeah, I think so.
the one for all the people that were born after 1997. Um, Going extra mile sometimes around sounds like slavery, sounds like taking advantage of your free time. But
Hmm.
I strongly believe that nowadays going extra mile is an important step for your working career because
Hmm.
once you are going extra mile, if you're going extra mile, not doing FaceTime job, but with the aim, with the goal to learn something, with a purpose, it's gonna be something that time that you dedicate to develop yourself. And
Yeah.
whether it is developing yourself like for yourself, like learning a new language or learning new skills, taking new trainings, but learning something also in your office, I believe that you're doing something for yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to
And
do FaceTime job, don't do that. It's not worth it. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying to
that's
my juniors. When I have
yeah, that's
juniors that
a
are staying longer
completely
with
different thing.
just refreshing the page of the Excel file, I say, guys, go home.
Yeah.
You don't need to be there.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Banking is mostly about communication and building relationships, and most people don't grasp that before, experiencing it firsthand. From the outside, it just feels to most people like, you're just opening your laptop and all day long you're just alone doing Excel sheets, which is not the truth for most of the teams,
Oh,
I would say. Yeah.
no, I mean, I think my juniors are regularly involved in, well, at least the juniors that are working together with me are regularly involved into conference calls, dealing with clients,
Yeah.
trying to provide brilliant solution to them, preparing presentations,
Yeah.
trying to be creative. I mean, I think it's not only being in front of an Excel file. There
I,
are other
I, I totally
jobs
agree
like
with
that.
you.
I, I will not mention those, but it's
It's not one of them. Yeah.
it's not one of them. Working in front
And
office. If you're working
oh yeah.
sales and you can be in front of Bloomberg and full stop. But
Yeah.
you have to deal with clients as well. So,
And um, for your own, personal perspective, I know this is a kind of a bonus question, but are there some things that you think you've uh, done in the past that helped you with your current career? Like, I don't know, some kind of a sports or like a, I don't know, a certificate thing? Like, I don't know why I didn't think of this question before, but I think it might be important. What are the things that you've done that you felt like it helped with your job?
Mm, good question. I, I can mention two things. Playing rugby, because you learn how to sacrifice yourself and team working. And
Oh,
second is
I've never thought of it that way. It's basically physical sacrifice, by the way, right?
it's mental. It's a lot of
Mental.
mental, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of mental sacrifice effort. Yeah, you got to do. I mean, I don't know if you ever watch a live rugby match.
Once in my life, we had a
Yeah,
rugby team at high school, but just once.
it's I mean, being there for 80 minutes and being focused, it's not easy. But in any case, this one, and also I think having an international Master of Science.
Hmm. Like I think, that's another question. I did ask myself that question years ago, and I received that question time to time from students. Like there is some kind of a decision path for Turkish students. Either after finishing your bachelor's, you go for a master's directly, or you start working, and after a couple of years of working, you go for a master's degree. What are your thoughts on that? Just, be very transparent. I'm just curious.
If I would have, if I would not be Italian, born and raised in Rome, I would
Mm,
suggest to take your bachelor, go and have 1 or 2 years of working experience, and then
mhm,
take a gap year to start your Master of Science.
mhm,
Because earlier you start working, better it is. The
mm.
best solution would be to be a working student,
Oh,
like here in
yeah.
Germany. In Germany, here you can be working student. So during your master, you are
Mhm,
working 3 days per week, and the rest you spend time at university.
mhm.
That's the
But
best
that's not
solution.
usual in Italy as well, right? Not in Turkey for sure, but I didn't have any,
Sorry, can you repeat the
classmates.
question because
Yeah.
I could not hear you.
I was just saying, I think that's not common in Italy as well because it's not in Turkey for sure. But, I think few of my classmates were working while doing the master's degree.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
In Italy, it's impossible.
Because it's full time. Master's is a full-time job there.
Yeah, it's a full-time job. I mean, I graduated from my master in 24 months
Hmm.
because it was a 2 year classes. So I
Yeah.
skipped 6 months. So I brought forward my graduation by 6 months,
Hmm.
and it was kind of no life
Yeah.
period because you are spending from Monday to Saturday
True.
at university, starting classes in the morning at 9 o'clock and finishing in the
Yeah.
evening at 8.
It's basically like a bachelor's degree. Yeah. It's just a continuation of it by
Yeah,
by in terms of how busy you are.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
it's the same
even
here in
more,
Turkey.
I was less busy
Yeah.
during my bachelor time. So
Oh, okay. My final question for you.
sure.
Are there any books, movies, I don't know, documentaries, that you feel like it changed your perspective to life and that you would like to suggest?
Books, Sapiens,
Okay. From
I,
Harare?
I must read it in my view. Movies, um, you need to find your favorite movie. So I cannot tell you which is my favorite one because you need to find your favorite one
Okay.
and think about it. And music, I mean I like so many genres of music, different kinds of music. That's
All over the
it's crazy.
place.
Yeah, but I'm listening from classical music, jazz to techno music. So it's
But then,
there.
life requires those kinds of
Yeah,
solutions. So it's not how we feel the same, 24/7 the same. Okay. And finally, this is a bonus one as well.
two bonus. Huh?
Um, Two bonus. Yeah.
It's gonna be
You
two
you can
dinners.
send me the yeah, you're going to send me the receipt. Don't worry. So before we finish the session, is there anything extra that you would like to, share, say as final words?
Yes, guys, don't be afraid. Take decisions in life because once you take a decision, you're growing up. If you're staying in the shadow because you're scared of taking any step forwards, any action towards something, you will never grow up. You will never develop. So please do that. Take a risk. Take a risk.
Perfect. And finally, if some students, not it's not three. This is another question for you. It's kind of an ask. If some of the students would like to reach out to you, would you prefer LinkedIn?
Yeah, sure.
Slide in
Please
your
reach out.
DMs on LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn. You will find me there, and I will be more than happy to arrange a call because I rather prefer to have a call rather than messaging, and we can further find out a solution or any option or a piece of advice that can help you with your choices in the future.
Lovely. Tiziana, thank you so much for
My
this.
pleasure.
This was a huge pleasure from my part. I
Likewise.
know how busy it gets, but it really means a lot. So I'm going to save this on Instagram and then upload it to YouTube. And thank you again.
Thank you very much, and feel free to reach out to me. And if you have any question, if you want to discuss about an opportunity all over the world, I'm happy to help you guys.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of the night.
Enjoy your evening, guys. Take care.
You too.
Bye
Bye.
bye.